Pulled it out, man. It's just sitting there purring, waiting for me to go get a title for it where I can get it on the open road. Man, sitting for 7 months, fired right up. Just letting it run for a little bit, get them hydraulic lifters up a little while, and burn some of this old gas. I don't hate it. I think that I may look for another color. I don't know. What I may do is buff out the rest of it and then do a little bit of spraying to see. But that's better than black. Guys, got a little bit of a leak in the exhaust, but other than that, man, it's purring. All right, guys, well, today's the day. After 6 years, it's time to go get the bus registered and come back and finish up the rust repair and get it painted red. All right, guys, step one done. It got checked out by the Auto Theft Task Force. It is not a stolen vehicle. They've confirmed the VIN. Now I'm off to the Department of Motor Vehicles to give them money and have them take advantage of me because they NADA everything for its value. So I'm probably going to have to pay about $10,000 worth of taxes on this thing, or whatever the taxes are on it at its restored point, because they don't seem to devalue them if they're all trashed and stuff and got full of holes, which is kind of bullshit here in Texas, but it's just the way it is.
651. Please proceed to...
So this is kind of going on forever throughout the day here so far, but the Texas DMV now, if you're going to get a bonded title, regardless if you have a bill of sale or receipt, don't make a bit of difference on the value. They go to the NADA and go by the JB Powers value on the vehicle on average price. So it doesn't matter if it's just a body with a motor in it. They're going to value it at the value it would be on an average daily driven car that they consider a 20-footer basically. So my Volkswagen bus that's, you know, like a $500 freaking field fine has been valued at $31,000 for my bond value. So rather than go and spend $100 on a bond for a bonded title, I'm about to go spend about $350. The only other way you can get around this is to hire an actual appraisal company to appraise the vehicle. But unfortunately, I don't have time for that. So I'm just going to bite the bullet and move on and turn the page. But yeah, if you're going to bond a title in Texas, look it up on the NADA.com and then figure plus 1.5% is what the state adds on to it to determine its bonded value. Totally sucks. You live and you learn. What's up, guys? Well, this is the task at hand. That bus, I need to paint it red as soon as possible. It's going to be hard for me because I'm going to be doing body work that I probably would not normally do, as far as like trying to do my best. I just need to get it basically put together where I can use this for advertisement. You know, like for running a parade or sit on the side of the road with my company name on the side of it. So I'm fixing to lay into this thing and work my way around it as quick as possible and get ready to paint it. There's places like this where are pretty rotten, and then there's places like this that are very rotten. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and kind of mark off a map, cut this off, and see what's in there. All right, man, I got the majority of the crap out of there. Yeah, this thing basically, I mean, it's a lot of Bondo. I haven't sanded this yet, but I think that there's probably gonna, I don't know, it's not super thick, but there is some Bondo through here. So now I just gotta flap it back a little bit, and then put some rust, I guess the converter on it, and let it dry. And then we'll first tackle this little piece right here, and then we'll make one of these. I'm going to try to do this whole thing without buying any panels. I did a couple years ago buy the panels for the I did get the panels a couple years ago for the bottom of the sliding door, the inside and the outside, so I do have that. But other than that, no, we're gonna hit the bottom of these bad boys, flat metal, bend it, weld it in, and go on to the next panel. All right, I got it sprayed down with the OSFO. I'm gonna let it dry, and then I'll cut me out a panel and see what I need to do to get it fitted in there and get it welded back up. I went ahead and like sanded the side of the bus with 60 just to kind of see what, kind of cut it back and just kind of look at it flat. And it's pretty straight. Places that need attention, the next day's a welding day. We got that little square I gotta figure out what to do with. I gotta make a panel for right there. And then up here at the front on the bottom, I got 2 places that I've cut out of there. So I'm fixing to put these neutralizer on it. And yeah, it's gonna work out, man. It's just I'm gonna do it in stages where I have like a prep day, a welding day, a prep day until this point where it's just sanding days. But it's pretty cool. All right, guys, I'm kind of getting my panel up here that I made. I just bent a piece of metal and then kind of bent it around my leg. But I think it's gonna work okay. I'm just trying to figure out, do I want to lap it just to keep the warpage down, and I know that there is quite a bit of filler here, so I know I could probably blend it in. I think that'd be the simplest thing to do. The only one I'm concerned a little bit about this side right here, but I still think that I could probably pull it off. But once I get it on there, then I'll have to cut this section down here, which I'm okay with. I think I can pull that off too. So yeah, that's where I am right now. About as good as I'm going to take it. It's going to be a booger to weld up anyway, because I do have a little bit of rotten metal right in here, so I'm just going to have to dab it and grind it and dab it and grind it. But in comparison to the big hole that was there, it's going to do. It's going to be lapped just a little bit, and that's okay, because I got to take filler and bring this even anyway. So it's probably going to pull in as I weld it anyway. So I'll just take my time, and then on this edge here, I got to weld this edge kind of dab it and dab it, and then grind it off, dab it till I fill that all in. So, but that's gonna work. All right, guys, that's the first pass. I'm fixing to flap it down, see what I got going on. I gotta get my pinch welder out and pinch this bottom edge all the way across here too. But yeah, it's gonna work, I think. As far as I'm grinding it, because I know that it needs to be, this is going to be higher, so it'll blend right in there. No longer solid as a rock. I've just got to get my pinch welder and pinch this bottom across here, and do a little filler, and we'll move on to the next hole. All right, guys, it's been a few days later. I'm back out here working on the dog leg of the bus. I'll show you what I've done. All right, I've cut my patches already in here and got them fitted. They're nice and tight. Inside here, I scraped all that and painted it like a flat black after doing a rust neutralizing deal. I'm going to fix this back side, but I'm going to do it from the back side. So the way it's set up, I can actually slide a patch in, weld it, and then hit it with some type of a seam sealer or something like that to keep the moisture out of it. On this other one here, I've got it, and I also painted the back side of them. This one's good to go. There's a hole in here where I guess that they would spray the wax in there or something. So I'm gonna have to find some rubber plugs to put in there after I get done with this. But that's where I'm at on it. Keep moving along. I mean, it's time consuming because that I'm having to make all the patch panels, but I got this giant sheet of 20 gauge, so I'm using it up, and also I enjoy the process. So I'll get back with you here in a little bit when they're burned in. All right, got that all welded up now, but I did find another hole right up in here, so I'm gonna have to cut that out. But yeah, you just keep pushing. But that's good to go. Okay, now I'm on to my next patch. What I've got here is this step is pretty jacked up, and I'm gonna cut a piece of steel to weld over that. So I've already kind of went over to the other side where my metal is. And the way I'm doing this is probably, not like the perfect way to do it, but for me, this bus is, it's going to get used. I'm not building a showpiece. I'm going to be using it for work and then maybe camping sometimes. So I just want to be sure that, I can do anything to try to keep the weather out and just, I've already neutralized that rust, but I definitely, I don't really recommend like lapping and stuff like I'm doing and stuff if you're doing a full restoration, but for my needs it works. So basically I've just threw my pattern on there, kind of always make it a little bit bigger, and then I'll use my flapper wheel to break it down to size. So let me get this cut. Oh, by the way, I'm cutting this stuff Harbor Freight. It's electric shear. It was cheap. I recommend it. Just gotta wear gloves with it though. It ain't pretty, but I should be able to weld it on. So let's button this up and go on to the next thing. All right, that's what it looks burned in. Fixing to flapper wheel it back and see what I ended up with. It's not too bad. Didn't burn through a whole lot, so that made it a lot easier. Well, that's it burned in. I need to get my electric file and get down inside because I can't get the door open wide enough to get in there with the flapper. But yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but I think I can clean up a little mud, and it's a whole lot better than what I was dealing with. So that's another step. Guys, I think that's it for the night for me. I'll be back at it here as soon as possible. Got to button up, getting the rest of this rust out of here. That way I can get this bad boy in primer and start working the bodywork. Yep, I'm back at it, and I'm about to work on the floor. I got one more spot here that I need to knock out before I move on to the stuff that's out here that's more cosmetic. I'll show it to you. That's it. So I'm just going to cut that out and make me a piece and weld it in. All right, there's the new piece. Just use that one as a template. Now let's go bend it and see if we can get it in there to fit. All right. Well, it's not perfect, but I can weld it in and kind of, use the old flapper disc, grind it back down, make it work. I mean, it's going to be underneath a rubber mat anyway, but as long as there's not a big hole there. All right, guys, that's as far as I'm going to take it. The rest of it will end up with seam sealer and, yeah, moving on to the next piece. But it's better than the hole that was in the floor. All right, now onto another spot that I've got down here. I cut it out. I just filled it full of OSPO, let it dry, spray paint the inside of it, cut a panel, and weld it in. Well, I'm back to the repair that I think I probably started 3 years ago. I cut this out. I'm about ready to finally burn this thing in and make the panel to go on the inside. This one's kind of difficult. Basically, I'm just trying to put relief cuts because this is lower here, so I'll be able to knock it down and tack it, set different height there. But then in between each of these little deals, I cut a relief. That way I can tap it down with like a ball peen hammer in between and see if I can weld it up around it. It's the only way I could think of doing it. So I don't know if it's the right way, but that's what I'm going to try. I had success, it's so funny because it's been 4 years ago since I was learning how to weld, and I used, I did this one over here, and I did that with the old Harbor Freight flux welder. It's pretty crazy. I feel like I've come a long ways since I started then. But then sometimes I look at my welds and I'm all like, I got a long ways to go. I'm not gonna get too close to that. A little bit close, yeah. It's coming in. But basically, what's happened now, I ran out of argon. So I'm kind of I'm at a standstill. Unfortunately, it's Saturday, so I don't think any place is going to be open Sunday to get argon. So I guess I'm going to go actually see my family. You know how that is when you're building cars, you get kind of focused. And so I'll take the next couple days, hang out with the family, and then we'll get back on it. All right, that's buttoned up. I just need to seam seal it. Don't judge. It'll be under the floor. Yuck. The next thing that I'm going to do is I've got it on the back side. I'm going to put a plate in here and get it all welded in. So I'll have to seam seal all this stuff, but just to get it in there where that it protects the back side of that what I just did. All right, that's kind of what I came up with. Kind of tuck it in there. It's just welded around the edges, and then we'll seam seal it and get on with our lives. All right, that's it. Now I'll just seam seal around the edges of it, and then the whole inside of this thing will get like the undercoating. Well, here we are. On the other side, got to cut this part out over there on this one. I don't have the rust out back there, which is cool, but this door, that's going to be a lot of fun. I did buy one of these things. They're like 26 bucks at Harbor Freight. They're a 3-inch cutoff wheel, but they make extra thin disc where you don't have to cut such big gashes in your car. And then also it's a lot easier to handle than a regular grinder. I saw a guy on YouTube, Joe's Rust Buckets, super good fabricator and an auto body repairman. And he was utilizing a similar one that was, I think it was a Bosch. But I was able to find this one here locally for cheap. So I've been using it, works great, highly recommend it. Well, it's kind of like you open the door, I swing it around, and there's the mess. So I just got to clean it up now and get it all prepped and make me a panel. All right, so it turns out this all right here was all just a big chunk of Bondo, which is cool. Anyway, I got it cleaned up, and I'm going to put some rust converter on it now, let it dry, and then we'll get it painted up and we'll make a panel. All right, guys. Got it all painted up in there after the OSPO is dried. I'm just gonna let it sit and I'll get back on this another day. I feel like I'm making good headway on this. My big thing was that I've got about 2-3 weeks where I want to get this thing painted. So I'm just going from panel to panel. None of this work is gonna be like show car work. It's just basically cutting the rust panels off, stabilizing the bus, and then I'm actually going to paint the bus with Rust-Oleum tractor paint. So we'll see how that goes. I'm a little apprehensive about it, but I've seen people have good success. So I'm going to try to prep it good and see if I can make it happen. The biggest thing is going to be this sliding door, man. Check this thing out. Yeah, this thing is trashed. I mean, it's bad. And so I'm going to have to, when I get this panel that I'm doing right now done, I'm probably going to remove this door and take the bus outside and do the door in here and work on it. And I had actually bought, man, my garage is a mess. I got too much going on. I had bought the inside bottom piece and the outside piece for that door probably 3 years ago. So now I'm going to get to use it. But yeah, it's coming along. I'm excited about it. I can't wait. I'm excited now that it's kind of like almost like watertight. Because it's had holes in it this entire time. So I like the fact that it's getting stabilized at least. Got back out here messing around a little bit and took that cover off. Never done that before. It's pretty easy. 2 screws and you tap it up. And then took the door off, which that was a little handful by myself, trying to figure out as I go. But basically, you just undo the bolt right here. Oh, I think you better be careful with that. And the mechanism drops out, and then you slide the door all the way down, and there's a little notch right here, and you kind of turn the door a little bit and it slides right out. So I learn something new every day. All right, cleaned out that rail, sprayed it down with the OSPO, oops, all the way down on it. I've seen a lot of these rotted out on buses, but mine's not rotted out, so I feel grateful for that. So I'm just going to clean it up really good, and you know, after I paint it, get it lubed up before we put it back on. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And looking forward to doing this. Probably gonna do it tomorrow. We'll get that one knocked out. Now that I've got the door off, I'll probably go ahead and take the glass out of it, because I realized that about 2 or 3 years ago I must have ordered a rubber for that glass, and then I ordered the new bottom piece for the door, the outer skin and the inner deal. So I'm going to see if I can cut as little bit off as I can, and yeah, make a fresh door on that thing where it'll last a little bit longer. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, working again on the side. Made a little template, transferred it to the metal. Now I'm going to cut it out. Okay, at this point, I'm going to throw it in the little Chapey Harbor Freight brake and bend it, put the lip on across the bottom of it, and then we'll get it back over there and kind of start forming the curve. Kind of hard to hold this thing on there, but basically I get the curve usually just kind of bending it over my knee. And so you get it close, and then I'm probably going to screw it in place and then make some lines, and I may trim the actual bus again a little bit and just get it in there nice as clean as I can. Slowly getting it fitted in. Just a little nibble here, a little nibble there, but it's coming together. Just sprayed the inside of the panel with etching primer, wait for it to dry, then I'll put some regular paint on it. And then I have to go and I got to build the bottom of this structure back here on this little deal where it goes down. So I'll have to find me some thicker metal and put that back in there before I can weld this on. All right, I just kind of made this little piece here. I'm gonna burn it in and then get the big panel on. All right, first burn in, getting ready to grind it back, look for pinholes and touch it up. All right, one more burn in to catch the pinholes, and then we'll move on to the door. All right, that's all she wrote. I just got to pinch weld the bottom of it, and then the little pinholes will probably end up with a little filler, but yeah, that's better than the big hole that was there. All right, guys, it's kind of hard to tell on the thing, but yeah, that's it. Letting paint dry on it, and gonna move over to that door. The door is pretty complicated, and I'm probably gonna make a whole episode on just doing that door. I'm kind of apprehensive about it, but I mean, that's really the last big piece left to do, and then I got a few little things, and then I can get this thing in primer and start doing the body work where I can get it painted. Well, there's the bottom of my door, all made out of fiberglass. Look at this thing. Ooh, this thing is bad. So, gotta figure out how I'm gonna do my magic and get it done. Yeah, that thing is gnarly. It's been bad for a long, long time. Yay, more work. Took the window out, had a new rubber. All right, I'm fixing to take a cut. This is how big the panel is. This is where I want to cut it. I'm gonna run me a cut across there and see if I can peel this off and see what's behind it. It's pretty gnarly though. Yeah, that's a mess. I do have that piece, but you know how those things fit, but it's gonna have to work because this has to be cut off, at least part of it. Now I'm trying to figure this out. I kind of cut the bottom off, and I've got my piece up underneath it, and I think that's going to be the ticket to keep the door the right length and everything. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to put a tape measure against this panel here and see where I am on it. Well, this is kind of where I'm at. I've got to I'm gonna take a break for a little bit, go have some dinner, but I've got to square this thing up. It's not square, so but I figured out a way to do it and not have to cut too much off. I think this is going to do what I need to do. Yeah, that's as far as I'm going to take it tonight. I got a little bit more welding to do on it tomorrow. But yeah, that's way better than what I started with. Can't wait to get it all in one color. Doing projects like this, it's pretty much everything I'm doing each time is similar to things I've done in the past, but it's all new projects. So you just got to take your time. If I can do this, you can too. So I hope that that you don't find yourself ever putting off a project or something just because you're afraid to try. It all works out in the end. All right, guys, just kind of an update of where I am on the bus right now. Check out the door here. I did lap weld this, but I knew because I tend not to go slow enough, that it would shrink the panel. And so I put a straight edge all the way down this thing. It sucked it in, so I should be able to put my filler in there, not have any issues with that. And then I went and put some spot welds too in it, just to keep it where it's not popping or anything. My next thing is this, man. This is screwed. So I've got to cut this whole section out, make another one, and weld it in. I was kind of expecting that. I have a feeling that the windows that I'm not addressing probably have the same problem. Just not in the budget right now. I know in future, I'm using cheap paint, so if it's a scenario where that I do end up replacing those rear rubbers on those windows, when I pop them out, I'll just weld it in and then touch up the paint. But yeah, making my way. At least it's a door with a bottom on it now. That was a big thing for me. It's not all rotted out. I can't wait to get it on the bus and just kind of see it on there. I've been looking at that rotten bottom edge of my bus for like 5 years, so it's pretty cool. I just threw a piece of tape across there. That's what I'm gonna use as my cut line. And I'm gonna use that 3-inch cut-off wheel. It just seems a lot easier to handle than dealing with a 4.5-inch grinder, and it's got a thinner cut that it makes. So it's just, I don't know, it works better. I definitely recommend getting one and trying it out. Okay, cut the sections out, and I've got rust neutralizer on it right now. I'm gonna let this dry for a little bit. Meanwhile, while that's happening, I'm gonna go start making some practice pieces. All right, soaking in rust converter. This is how it's kind of starting. Just got the pieces cut. Now I just need to make them live on the door. So basically what I'm doing here to get this curve is I got the old Harbor Freight kit, but I frequently will put these blocks in my vise, and then I'll work them with a hammer all the way across. Okay, I've got my first piece made. I probably might kick myself, but I'm going to try the old stack it up. I just saw Chris from the Vagabonders do this, where he stacked it up and then cut it with both pieces and to get a perfect mating surface. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but we'll see. But that I got the curve pretty good. Just took a minute. Slowly going in. I got a big gap right there. It is what it is. I'm just gonna have to baby it in. Still got some pretty rotten stuff here. I'm shooting and just jumping through it, so I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with that. But working on it. All right, first section done. Sure, I'll have to do body work on it, but that's still, it's hard to really tell, but it's good. It's better than a big gaping hole like that. So we're working on it. Gonna get this door done. Well, I'm making my way across this freaking bottom of this freaking window. About to do another piece, and then it'll be buttoned up, and I will be glad. It's really sucked. Well, it's welded in there. Of course, I'm gonna have to do body work on it to make it true, but at least it isn't a big rusted hole. And I'm gonna have to cut out this place again and here and put in a little patch. But hey, talk about a Frankenstein door. Guys, I'm back out here. I got the door back on the bus. See it right back there. So it's welded up and on there. And so now I'm gonna get out the Bondo and I'm gonna fill that line. I don't like, I've got the whole bus to do, but that one door, just because I did such a big repair on it, is making me crazy just looking at it. So I'm gonna get after it. All right, there's the first coat of mud. Give it a few minutes to dry up, and then we'll start blocking it back. Okay. All right, I'm gonna be using the Durablocks. I've got a whole set of them. There's different sizes, but I'm gonna use the long block, and you basically just kind of do a little of this, a little of that, some of this, and then maybe like a little that, just to make sure that you get it right. Guys, 2 coats of mud so far. I'm basically putting them on there, using the DA to break it down, and then I'm taking the longboard and kind of decking it. I'm working my way towards it, Got a long ways to go, but it's coming along. Kind of hard to tell, but yeah, it's really difficult. These cameras don't really do it justice, but it's getting flatter. All right, this is gonna be the third run through with the mud. Each time I get a little bit wider, just kind of taking it out to feather it. But it's starting to get flat, so I think it's gonna turn out. I don't know if it's gonna be like dead straight board flat like you'd see like a professional body person do, but it's gonna be way better than it was with that big yucky seam on it. Well, I had some sandable primer and went to spray it, and I realized it's black, so I'm gonna have to dust the top of this thing with like a gray primer before I block it back and see where I stand on it. But it's looking pretty good so far. Well, this is where I'm gonna end it tonight. It's getting close to 11:30, so. But it's coming along. I'll block it back out again tomorrow and keep on moving my way up the door. I think that I'm just going to do one panel at a time till it's done. But yeah, that's it's getting pretty straight. You know, I did cut it in half and put a gnarly looking weld across there, so it's pretty. I think it's going to turn out all right. All right, I'm moving my way down. I've still got these areas like here. I'm going to have to come back and touch up again, but I think I'm going to knock out the biggest stuff, like where I did this quarter down here first, and get the whole side of this bus in primer where I can see what I'm looking at, because there's like little imperfections that you can't see until you get all one color. And so I think that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll come back and address it one little spot at a time. All right, working my way down. Got my primer on this bottom edge here. It needs to dry. It's a little thick, but then I'll sand it out. But that's blending in pretty good. You know, it's kind of hard to tell in this camera what this really actually looks like, but it's starting to clean up pretty good. I've just got a few little things to start, you know, picking on. I think I'm going to go ahead and work out that door here next, and then maybe work my way back to this corner. I know the corners are good and have no dents because they're brand new metal, so they're just going to have a little bit of wobble in them from the heat from welding them on. Then I got to get up underneath the edge of that drip rail and clean it up, but it's coming along. All right, I'm going through here, starting to prep this area here. I'm going to have to get the OSFO in there. Lots of surface rust. Just giving it a hard scrape, knocking loose stuff off. I've already started on this door, just waiting for that putty to dry, and I'll get that sanded down. But yeah, it's kind of weird seeing all the pieces coming off the front, but you get that bumper too. Well, now I just scraped it down a little bit, waiting for the OSFO to kick, let it dry, and then I need to sand this, and we'll start working our way that direction. Yeah, I took the antenna off because I don't plan on having an antenna on the bus anyway. And this was the piece of metal that was there, and it looked pretty gross. So I cut it out and put a patch in. Now I just gotta putty it up. Yeah, I didn't get as far as I wanted to today, but I did get rid of that antenna hole. Started working my way around, and really the only thing stopping me right now is I'm out of primer and stuff. So it is what it is. I'll catch some more next time. I did find this nasty dent underneath the bumper, which the bumper completely covers, so I'm not going to worry about it, but I am going to seal it up. I've already sprayed it all with rust converter. But yeah, slowly. The front's going to take a little longer. It's a lot easier to sand a flat place than to keep something round, so I'm going to take my time. This took a minute, but it's all sanded down. I'm about to put it in etching primer. Yeah, it's like, how do you say your OCD without saying your OCD? That was a lot of sanding. All right, man, we're getting closer and closer. You know, I am still going to do this probably 5 more times, but slowly getting all of the imperfections out of the side of the bus. Still going to do this bottom half where I welded in that panel. So get that dried up, and then I think I'm going to take all the windows out. I was going to tape them up because I wanted to, you know, save money on rubber, but man, I'm putting so much time into this thing, and these things are just hammered. This one's new. I've got a new one for the door. I just need to get 3 for the back windows in this. Then I'm gonna have the dreaded moment where I'm gonna have to take this off the glass. It's freaking awesome. Who knows how long it's been there, but it's not gonna work with this being the Red Bus Realty bus, so it's gonna have to go. Here we go again. Another rotten window. Yep, I went ahead and took it out. Yep, a lot of rust on the driver's side and the back window. I have to cut all that out of there. I just put OSPO on it to neutralize it. Back window, it's not as bad, but I'll have to do something with it. Seems to be like more damage on the inside of the window, which is kind of a first for me. I've not seen that before on the inside of the window, but obviously it must have been holding something. This one, surprisingly, doesn't have any. So I'm just gonna get that cleaned up. Stoked about that one. Yeah, this is a mess. All right, guys, I cut that top section out. So just OSPO'd it, let that dry. Then we'll coat the inside of it. Figure out what we're gonna do about this top cap. I think I can just put a strip across there is what I'm hoping for. Well, I'm slowly working into a rhythm on making this piece, and it's going on. It's probably not the right way to fix it, but basically, I think that I could probably just pinch weld these together, and then this edge, I'm just going to spot it right behind this little rail thing, this rail deal that's on here, all the way down, and just grind it smooth. It's going to have to work. I think it'll work. Cool. Got to do a little triangle right there. Should weld up pretty good. I got to clean up all the surfaces, but yeah, that should knock this out. All right, guys, that's as far as I'm going to take it. There are a few little pinholes and stuff in it, but not too much. I'm going to go ahead and hit them with some filler or some 2-part epoxy just to button them up, but I got a little place I got to get in there. But yeah, I think it turned out okay. I still got to get my pinch welder and pinch it all the way across here, but I got to sand the inside rib or inside of this first. But yeah, I got into it and this was all rotten, so I cut out a piece and put it in there. So yeah, I think it's gonna work out. Pretty cool stuff. I cleaned it up and neutralized it for rust, and I'm gonna lap this in over it. It's just too difficult of a place with what I've got to get in there and really cleanly weld it. So I'm probably going to tack it around the edges and then hit it with some seam sealer. It'll be all covered up by that big plate that goes around, but at least it'll be where the water's not getting in the bus. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, I've got that thing tacked in across the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and pinch this seam together. I've cleaned the paint off both sides of it, and I've got this Harbor Freight. I've got the 110 spot welder. I couldn't imagine how heavy the 221 is, but this thing is a beast. This thing's freaking heavy. This thing, you gotta get it to ground to get it to freaking burn. Scoot over a little bit. I have to clean the back of that off a little bit because I'm not getting a burn on it. Let me try this next one real quick. My wife is doing a dance because she's got bit by fire ants, but she's a trooper and helping me out. I kid you not, this machine has got to weigh at least 80 pounds. That's how I do it right there. This thing down. Oh my God. Well, thank you for helping me. I appreciate you. But you just burn them down all the way across, and then I'll grind this top edge down where it matches where the window rubbers don't catch on it when I put it in. But that's how we do it. I'm down here sanding this and working on the dog leg that I had done some putty on. I still got some more work to do on it. But I went up to the door above and it was like, what the hell's this? Grinding and grinding and grinding. And I guess years ago, somebody decided rather than actually take this, I don't know if you can see this little dent out of the door, they just filled it solid with Bondo. So I'm gonna see if I can get my little stud welder on here and see if we can put a few studs on there and pop this dent out of there. That's not really necessary. Yeah, it's hard to tell the contour and stuff, but these basically you weld these little bitty rivets to it with this gun. Harbor Freight special again, I think it's $100 or something like that. And then once you have them on there, you've got a slide hammer and you can pop them out. But sometimes, you know, if you get it too hot, it'll burn a little hole in there. So just gotta be careful, but that's a whole lot better. Gonna take a whole lot less filler to bring that in. It's really hard to film the bus since it's like so big and flat and gray. It doesn't really, you can't see the contours, but I'm slowly getting the sides of it straight. And of course, this is, like I said, the first time around on the body work. The first time around was the metal work. Now this is the first time around on the body work. Once I get the first round of body work in, I'm gonna sand the top, I'm gonna tape everything all up and shoot it with my air compressor rather than shaky can, and with something with a little filler primer, and then we'll come back and we'll start blocking the whole thing out. Yeah, it's coming along. Just, you know, you can see where the putty's lighter because it absorbs the primer differently. So once it dries completely, I can shoot it one more time and it'll blend in, and then I can block it back, kind of see where I am. All right, I took the last window out of the back. This is the one that I did the bottom on probably 2 years ago. And man, look at it already. Obviously need to find a better way to coat it, huh? It's already starting to rust out again. Literally, and that's in just 2 years. Yeah, need to do something better than that. All right, guys, I'm still working on this window. You know, the body work I did last time was really bad. So I'm taking my time. This is the third layer, and then I'm blocking it back with my block. It's going pretty quick. Just gotta wait for this to dry and keep on sanding. I almost screwed up there. When I was sitting there filming that, I realized, man, I left the tape on there. It's one of those things I learned from Mick that's up at Skinner's right now redoing his bus, watching Claudio, the body man, is he always tapes off where he doesn't get anything anywhere it doesn't need to be. And it really does make a big difference. You're not wasting a lot of time. So basically, you just got to want it bad enough and just keep sanding. Because when you're straight line blocking something, there's nothing that's going to cure it but time and labor. So I'd recommend DuraBlock. All right, guys, it feels super smooth and super level. We're gonna go ahead and see if what that looks like with some primer on it. All right, guys, I'm back at it out here. Got an adjuster. It's a piece of wood and a board. I'll show you what I'm up against here. The leading edge of this door is jacked, and you can kind of see how it's pooched out right there. And it's done at the bottom too. I think that the thing has been sprung, and no matter how straight I get the door, it still sticks out. So we're gonna see if we take a piece of wood and lay across here and bang the shit out of it with a orange mallet, if it does any good. All right, guys, that did the trick. I did put a little dent in it right here, but I'm getting a little bit better at taking these dents out, so I'll get it dialed in. But yeah, that closed that up nice. So happy with that. I have a little bit of distraction here. My air conditioner's been out for 3 or 4 days, and now it's getting to the point where it's well into the 80s in the garage. So I'm in here trying to clean these freaking coils to see if I can get it to stay on. It keeps powering off. But I do a lot of sanding in here, and you can see the dust just coming out of them. But hopefully I'll be cooling soon. I'm kind of starting on this back section here. Probably the worst place. It's got this dent. It's like an indentation. I tried to get behind it, and I really can't get behind it very good. So I think I'm going to put my stud welder on here, try to pop this out and bring it out a little bit at least. Ended up burning a hole in the thing, but it's flat now. So I can tinker around with some mud and see what I can get it, how it's going to look. So we'll see how this goes. Yep, here we go. We're gonna see if we can work that out of there. I think we should be able to. I really want to get the back of the bus primered, but I've got a lot of sanding to do, as you can tell. And a little bit more welding. All right, I'm just doing a little bit more cleanup on it. This thing, it's getting flatter and flatter, and but I've just, it's just that thing's really out of shape. So I'm just gonna keep doing it. If I keep feathering out until my longboard sands it all nice and flat. But there was some old Bondo down here. My extra that I'm ending up with, I'm just kind of slapping it on there. I don't know even why that was on there. It was there before I bought the bus. But anyway, I'm just gonna make sure I put a little layer on there. That way if I go to level that thing, that there's plenty of mud. It's getting dark, but it's looking pretty good. Man, I wish I had a better light out here right now. But yeah, that's a section, so we'll just have to keep going. Barely see where that dent was. All right, guys, I'm just starting to get the back corners sanded out, the bottom a little sanded out, and I'm gonna get them in primer where I can really kind of see what the damage is. But those things are no fun to sand. Yeah. Anyway, let's see what they look like. All right, guys, I think I've made it around for the most of the big push of the initial body work. And I'm getting it fairly straight. You know, it's not gonna be perfect straight on this first time around, but it's getting there. I think that once I go around it one more time, kind of with a fine-tooth comb and get all the little stuff, then we'll be able to, it's gonna be pretty straight. If we can, I can go back and just really spot putty it, shoot it in primer again, and just really look at it. It's not ready completely yet to be sprayed, but man, really happy with that door gap there. That thing was out freaking way out. Was able to knock it back in there. Front end's looking pretty good. So still gonna sand the roof and get it in spray primer where I can see it, but I'm really not gonna do a lot to the roof because it's so high, and so I'm not really concerned about it. And there's gonna be a rack up there anyway eventually. But yeah, it's just looking pretty cool. Got the insides all down. I just got to get in there and like wash it with soap and water and just get in there and knock all the loose rust off. I've done it so many times now with the OSFO. I feel pretty comfortable that I've neutralized most of the rust to the level that I want to. I mean, I'm sure it could be done a whole lot better. But for me, man, it's not bad. I think that there was I think it was like 13 or 14 rusted out holes in the bus that are gone now. Some of these places, I'm really proud of the way these turned out. They look pretty good. So it's just how it all goes, man. You can't give up. It's very time consuming. I started 18 days ago, I think, doing the metal work and then working my way through this first run of body work. And now I just got to come back through and take like a section, block it back, check it, get all the little runs and all the little things that you can out of it, and then go on to the next one. Once I make it all the way around doing that, then I need to keep sanding it down to 360. So I'll probably go around on a 100. I'm starting with an 80, then I'll go to a 100, and then after the 100, I'll probably jump right to 360 and just get it as smooth as I can. That's one of the things I didn't do when I painted my Baja that I wish I would have. See if I can get some of the deep scratches out of it. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped up about it. So you guys keep coming back and watching the videos, and I'll keep making this bus. Take it easy and peace out. Guys, I've finally made it all the way around. I'm going through and doing the little things right now. But as far as the big body work, it's done. I'm just getting the little chips and stuff. And then once I get all of these, this little stuff at the top, and once I get all of these taken care of and blended in, got a few little stuff down there, across here, I'll go ahead, sand the top of the bus, and then use the actual compressor to prime the whole thing with the good quality primer stuff. And then I'll get my blocks out and just pick a panel and just keep blocking it until it's straight. But it's coming along. It's a lot of freaking work. I still got a lot of welding to do on this back hatch still. got it leaned up over here. That way I can mess with it. I just got a little burnout on welding, so. But yeah, it's coming along. All right, guys, I got through my first round of sanding on the roof, and then I went through and all the gutters, I filled them full of OSPO. There's lots of rust in there. I wire brushed them, and so I'm gonna let that do its magic. And then I'm thinking seriously, before I prime this thing, I may follow up with what Chris is doing on the Vagabonders channel, is like at the base of the windows and stuff like that. He's using 485, and I have some left over, I think, from doing the red bug. So I may do some of that in these rails and at the base of these windows, since I had to replace them all, just to save them. You know, maybe they'll last a little bit longer next time around. But that's where I am now. Well, I'm back on it, guys, and I realized that the last time when I made that dog leg and put on, I never finished this job. I mean, I'm glad I opened the door to look and see, because there's still a hole that needs to be patched, and the top of this dog leg I still got screwed on. So I need to get that welded on. Hopefully it doesn't screw up all the body work I did on the lower part of it, but if it does, I'll fix it. Let's just get it done. I'm slowly getting it stitched in. I can't run my air conditioner in my garage and my welder at the same time, so I'm kind of going a little bit at a time. Just try to keep the temperature under 80 in here. It's well over 100-degree heat index here in Texas today, so we'll just got to keep on pushing. I'll show you what I've done so far. I'm just starting to stitch it in, and letting it cool, stitch it in, let it cool where it don't burn up the panel. But yeah, I'll be buttoning it up here in just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and seam seal them, and well, I'm going to put etching primer, seam seal it, and then it'll be primed again. But when everything's done, I'm probably just going to put like some anti-slip rubber pads over it, so it won't be visible. This isn't a show bus. I just needed not to have a hole there. All right, guys, I've got the front seat out, which that was a learning experience. If you haven't done a bay, check your Bentley book. It'll let you know. Going through here, just scraping and wire brushing and vacuuming this area here. It's going to go through a lot of cleaning before it'll actually take some paint. But I just wanted to make sure that I could paint this section. And of course, with the floor and this walkway when you come in there. Up underneath the underside, man, I'm very tempted. I may just paint that section with a foam brush or something, just because that I don't want to remove all the wiring and all that stuff. It just seems like too much. So I'm gonna just keep going on this, keep cleaning on it, and hopefully it'll take the paint well that way, because I don't have the rubber to put on here. So I'd like this metal to be clean, so when I do paint it, that at least looks clean when you open the door of the bus. I'm going to pull these door panels off. There'll be a video up soon when I had actually installed these things as I go along. And then, well, actually, you've probably already seen it at this point. Then I've got, that way I can, because I'm not going to replace all the metal and all that stuff around here. Cost prohibitive, can't do it. So I'm just going to tape it off on the inside and the outside the best I can. And then if there is any places that show through, I'll go through with a small, like a painter's brush, and just kind of touch it up. But I think that the black will look good on the red. And also I just want to make sure I get down in the corners and stuff like that. Just where, I mean, I know it's a repaint and it's tractor paint, but I want to do the best job I can. Trying to get this freaking seat out of here. It's like jammed. Oh man, I can barely freaking breathe. First seat, about 2 hours. Second seat, a little over half a day to get that thing unstuck and out of there. Holy cow. But it's one of those things that I need to get it cleaned out underneath there. I need to get all the rust out of there. It had to come out. I was just trying my best not to tear them up because the seats aren't messed up, but man, that kicked my butt. I'm gonna take a break. Hey guys, I'm back out here again. Finally got the front seats out of the bus, and I've got to get degreased. I had to use a lot of oh shoot, I keep hitting that thing, man. I gotta fix that. I used a lot of WD-40 and penetrating oil to get the seats off, so I need to get it cleaned off there. A product that I use, let me get this here. I use Super Clean. They support the channel, and their products are fantastic. So what I'm basically going to do is take all this greasy area here And we're going to spray this super clean on it and let it soak, and then come back and address it here later today. Just got to get all this old caked off grease off this thing, and also all of the penetrating oil just got all over it, so we can clean it up and prep it for paint. All right, let me get this other side. This side's a little bit cleaner already because I started scrubbing it just with wire brush and stuff, but all of this grease needs to come off because it's going to really affect the adhesion of any primers or paints. So we just got to see if we can get it all cleaned up. We'll usually see it washing that stuff away. It's crazy how good this stuff works. All right, we'll just let this bad boy soak and we'll get back to it later today. After spending so much time trying to get these seats out, I've been deep cleaning this because I can't put any primer or anything on this thing till it's cleaned up and degreased. But one of the things I wanted to do is I'm going to sand out these rails because they had corrosion in them and I barely got the seat out. So I'm going to sand them for a while and then I'm going to spray them down with an actual rust inhibitor to maybe try to hold it off a little bit on down the road. But what a pain in the butt that was. I had to get in with one of these little Harbor Freight things and scrape out the inside while flushing it with Windex and super clean to get the grease out, and then following it with a wire brush. So yeah, you got to do it though. I mean, I'm one that likes, if I sit down in the seat and I need to adjust it, I just want to reach down and adjust it. I don't want to have to put my foot on the floor, on the dashboard to make it happen. So you got to do what you got to do. Well, that took a while to get clean. I'm fixing to acetone it and get it in primer. I've degreased it, I've scrubbed all the rust, I've neutralized the rust, and then put just a sanding, like a layer on there, 60, just to make the primer adhere to it. Then I got to do this one. But yeah, that takes a lot more than you think it would. A lot of little, making little special tools and stuff to get into the crevices and degreasers and stuff. But the super clean did good. And then I followed it up just kind of flushing it all out with Windex while I was scrubbing all the rails and sanding them out with brushes. Well, that's the first one cleaned up and primed. Just needed to get all the grease off of it and break off all the grit. Of course, it's going to get sprayed again with a regular primer rather than a can primer, but I just needed to work my way across it. Now I got to get this one. It's pretty gnarly. Took about an hour and a half to clean that one, sand it up and get ready to paint. So I'm just glad to have that part over with. Did my deep clean on this one. It's so hard not to want to make it perfect. My biggest thing is just that I wanted a clean surface that the primer will stick to. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, come around the rubber that goes over this stuff. So I figured it may be painted for a while. So I just wanted to make sure the paint didn't look completely horrible on it, but it's not going to be, any type of show car paint job either. But yeah, man, it's no task trying to get those things clean, but they're cleaning up. Well, I don't know if you can hear me with this mask on, but that one's cleaned up. The rest I'm going to clean it, where I can put a scuff coat on it to be able to paint it. Now I've got to clean this floor here, deep clean it, and get it ready. Work my way all the way back on the inside. And I think, it's getting closer and closer, guys. Just getting all this stuff off there. I think I'm probably gonna have to pull these doors off and patch the undersides of them because I feel some gnarly stuff under there, and it's like, I'm getting chunks off of here. So I may pull these doors off and see what's up with them. This dash, just kind of getting everything kind of taped up in here. I'm gonna figure out a way to kind of put some stuff in there to cover a lot of the stuff, but I'd like to, if I can, to paint that thing red. And maybe these vents, since I think that they show when you put the board in there. I need to look at some pictures on the internet. But everything's slowly getting covered up. I wish I could put a headliner, but I can't. So this thing's gnarly. So maybe one of these days I'll just cut it out and put wood or something. All of this stuff is a process. You just got to take your time and work your way through it. And, hopefully everything will come together.